Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. The last episode we got Sarah and Vivienne, and a lot of cool stuff happened. But this episode we are doing another Codex episode. So, do whatever you need to do. Skip it. Listen to it. Grab a snack. Whatever I'm reading. Story time. Yay. Did I already read Colin's and hers? I don't know, but I'm gonna read them anyway. Cullen, whatever you have heard of Kirkwall's rebellion, the truth is far worse. I would spare you that. What remains of Kirkwall's Templars have been under my command for the past few years. We have done what we could to assist with the city's recovery, to restore some semblance of order, but my time here is done. Secret Pentecost has approached me. She wishes to stop the war between the mages and the Templars. She has been recruiting men and women to the cause and wishes me to oversee the group's military concerns. If the conclave goes well, then we will not be needed. If not, we stand ready. I have decided to take Secret Pentecost's offer. The circles have fallen. I can give no more to the Templar Order, nor it to me. The Maker has shown me a new path. I must take it. I don't think I read this because I skipped past it and I thought it was read. So, formerly the revered Mother Dorothy of Orlais, Divine Justinian V rose to power after the death of Divine Beatrix III in the year 934 of the Dragon Age. Little is known about Dorothy's background before she joined the Chantry as an initiate, but she proved to be a liberal and daring thinker, willing to take a former bard and lay sister Leliana as a close advisor. A headstrong devotion to her and to her own agenda and rumored support of the Mage Rebellion earned her no small dislike from the powerful priests long used to the controlling access to the Vine. In the year 940 of the Dragon Age, Divine Justinian called a summit, intending to negotiate a truce between the Mage Rebellion and the Templars splintered from the Chantry. The Divine Conclave was held at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, the most holy place in Thedas. Before a resolution could be reached, a cataclysmic explosion destroyed the Conclave, consumed the temple, rent the sky, and shattered the world's hopes for peace. Divine Justinian V perished in the Temple of Sacred Ashes. The Chantry's flounders, leaderless, in the wake of her death, and its fate grows increasingly uncertain. If order is not restored to Thedas, Justinian V might be remembered as the Chantry's final divine. Ooh. Grand Enchanter Fiona. Oh, this is that little, that French elven woman who said she was like the leader of the Mage Rebellion. Okay, Grand Enchanter Fiona is considered an anomaly among mages. She is, for instance, the only member of the Circle of Magi ever to leave due to recruitment by the Grey Wardens, and then return. What? She left her wardens? Oh, here is another one. The circumstances of that return are largely unknown, but the notoriety she gained within the circle allowed her to rise rapidly in the ranks. She became first enchanter of the Molsamar Tower, and then elected Grand Enchanter at the college in Cumberland. The latter was based on her advocacy for the greater mage freedom, a view she claimed her time the Warden supported. Urging for a vote on the matter led to the College of the Enchanters' dissolution in 940 Dragon, and then, when a vote was attempted secretly, to Lord Seeker Lambert of the Secrets and the Truth, arresting Fiona and her fellow enchanters. I don't even know what that sentence was. Following their flight to the ruin of Andorra's Reach, the escaped mages held and passed a final vote on the Circle of Magi's independence. This began the Mage Rebellion. While Fiona no longer holds the official position of Grand Enchanter, most mages still consider her an integral part of the rebellion's leadership. We already read about him. Josephine Montillier. Secret Cassandra. Josephine Montillier is a noble from the nation of Antiva. She was educated in Valreal, where she built connections among the court. Once she finished her schooling at a surprisingly young age, Lady Montillier became the official diplomat between King Fulgelno of Antiva and Empress Celine of Orlais. The appointment suits her. She is well-traveled, familiar with many forms of etiquette, and by all accounts a skilled negotiator. If that endorsement does not suffice, Josephine is a personal friend. I have faith in her. We require someone both influential and trustworthy to be an ambassador for the Inquisition. You cannot tell me you would prefer to take the job yourself, Sister Leliana. Yeah, Cassandra as an ambassador. Sounds awesome. You read that? Leliana. Okay. She has many names. Most know her as Sister Leliana or the Nightingale. Some refuse to speak her name at all, referring to her only as the left hand of the Divine, the shadow behind the sunburst throne. The spymaster Marjolaine trained Leliana from a young age. For years Leliana was Marjolaine's instrument in the great game of Orlais. While Leliana was devoted to Marjolaine, the reverse was not true. Marjolaine betrayed Leliana and almost succeeded in killing her. Leliana survived the betrayal thanks to revered Mother Dorothy. Following this betrayal, Leliana spent several years in a cloister in Ferelden, hiding from her past, inspired by revered Mother Dorothy. Leliana dedicated herself to her faith, discovering peace in a simple life of devotion. But then, when the Fifth Blight began, she perceived what she believed a vision from the Maker. This prompted her to leave her sanctuary, taking up arms against the Darkspawn. Several years later, the defeat of the Archdemon, Leliana received a summons from Dorothy, now just Divine Justinia V. She returned to Orlais to become an agent of the Sunburst throne. Justinia perished in the explosion that destroyed the Divine Conclave. Leliana became a founding member and spy master of the new Inquisition. Ooh, Lord Seeker Lucius Corrin. For months we were also certain Lord Seeker Lambert's death was an assassination carried out by mages. He had, after all, declared the Navaran Accord null and void, hurtling us headlong into a war against the rebels. Why else would he be killed, except as an act of retribution? The entire Templar Order was fired up, ready to take up the fight against the mages, something we were sure would be over in a matter of weeks. Thus the election of Lucius Corrin to the role made me despair. According to the few seekers of truth with whom I spoke, he was a moderate. He agreed to the Divine Conclave, and every Templar I knew felt certain he would compromise to see the war ended. But lately, the man seems different, does he not? I've never met him before he assumed command, but even in this short time his opinions on the war have turned. He did not go to the conclave he personally supported. In fact, he seems to regret supporting it at all. He talks of the Templars establishing themselves as a power in our own right, and our fellows are all too eager to listen. I don't know from where this change of heart came, but I begin to wonder if Lambert's death wasn't as simple a matter as we assumed. Something is amiss within our order. Amiss within our order, and all I know is that it's beyond me to discover what. From a letter written by an unknown Templar found in a burned-out fort in 941 Dragon. Well, alright, Sarah. This report by Josephine has been defaced numerous times in a different hand. On Sarah, Red Jenny, and Bellissima laid apart spawn knuckle fronts. Wow. It falls to me to comment on this Red Jenny, for as a creature of the court, I must have seen the effect of her actions, although I cannot be certain. Does that make them effective or ineffective? What I know is that she has vexed cities, guardsmen across Thedas, and always escaped. Accessing all available records, it seems clear that there have been multiple embodiments of the name, often at the same time. The limitations of communication are such that this is impossible to verify in the moment. A crude drawing of a guard with the breeches at her ankles. The severity of the attributed actions vary wildly, from petty to outright vicious. While official reports label these actions unfair, I have knowledge of many named as victims, and several are a suspect character. Sarah would call them something altogether untoward. Yes, Mom, shits, a lot of them. There are tales of Red Jenny targeting criminals, slavers, and even assassins' guilds. The benefit of having a local is that they are invested in regional concerns, although this obviously varies. I can discern no protocol. Don't need a title to be awful and deserve it. So who is our Red Jenny? She has been amusing herself in Val Royeaux for some time, although it is clear from her accent that she is deeply Ferelden. She met with outright laughter by my inquiry as to whether she had any special elven concerns that I could address. I've conferred with Liliana about the danger of this group, and our estimation is that this incarnation of Red Jenny is at least a good distraction. Aw, the scary one cares. She thinks Liliana's scary. She is. Alright, Vivian. Madame de Fer. Oh my gosh, she does not have as much as Sarah. Magic is dangerous, just as fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned. An assiduous and talented scholar, Vivian rose rapidly through the ranks of Montsemard's circle. When she made a full-fledged enchanter, she elected to join no fraternity, a decision that shocked colleagues but may have been a calculated maneuver. When she successfully applied to appoint enchanter to the imperial court, nearly every fraternity clamored for her favor in hopes of having a representative at the Empress's ear. She was voted first enchanter of Montsemard at an age young enough to cause scandal. The circle widely regards her as the most shrewd and disciplined mage in Orlais. Ooh, crafting materials. Oh my god. Blood Lotus, do not try to get out of this. We were told you were the best. That is why you were contracted. Was it not? You who obtained the 200 white-blooming rose bushes for the Empress's winter ball last year. The Comtesse has been infinitely patient till now. But she doesn't understand why it is so hard to fill the garden pool. She wants no more excuses. And no, she will not compromise with the dawn lotuses. They're white. The flowers have to match the silk canopies. It's crucial. Dark purple, dark red. Do not try to frame this as a safety issue. The guests will be perfectly safe. Why, if they experience any hallucinations from the from the concentration of lotus essence in the air, I am certain it will only make the evening more thrilling. I don't care if you have to send someone to Ferelden Peat Bog to get it all, just do it. A note from Chamberlain Laurent to Grand Gardener Humbert Vauclain over the decorations for Comtesse Diarnay's summer garden party. According to gossip in Valroyal, the Chamberlain did succeed in convincing Grand Gardener Vauclain to provide the 120 lotus plants. The party was considered by most to be a roaring success, even though the evening concluded with at least 12 guests asleep on the lawn, 3 in the pool, and one lady losing several teeth trying to take a bite out of a marble statue of the Comtesse's father, which she was convinced was made of cake. Right on. Sounds like a wild night. Crystal Grace. The flowers of the crystal grace plant are appreciated for their beauty as well as their medicinal value. Pale blue and shaped like delicate crystal bells, the flowers that should almost tinkle in the breeze. Twinkle, I want to say that should say. In fact, I have heard of a tale of a Norwegian lady who ordered crystal grace to be planted all over her bower and then hired a mage from the White Spire to enchant them to do just that. Eventually, she grew tired of the chiming and set fire to her lawn in a fit of pique. Let us learn from this. These plants were created exactly as our Maker intended, and our interference rarely improves them. An excerpt from the Botanical Compendium by Inez Arancia. I don't know what Arcadia. Botanist. Whatever. Deep mushrooms. Deep mushroom refers to the entire group of fungi that grows underground in the caves in many parts of the dwarven deep roads. Collection can be a dangerous task, as the deep roads are often infested with dark spawn. Because of this, dwarven merchants often recruit casteless hirelings for the job and then pay them a meager percentage of what they earn selling the mushrooms to servicers. The most common varieties used in the herbalist trade are the blackcap, ghoul's mushroom, and brimstone mushroom, almost all of which tend to carry the darkspawn's corruption. While they cannot transmit the disease, this trait often makes them quite poisonous. Deep mushrooms should only be handled by experienced herbalists and should never be consumed without first being adequately cleaned and prepared. Careless consumption has been known to cause insanity, severe abdominal cramping, and even death. An excerpt from the Botanical Compendium by Inez Arancia, botanist. Well, dragonthorn. Not much to be said about that. The wood of the dragonthorn tree is prized for its strength and has been used to craft bows of remarkable quality. The leaves are equally valuable. Alchemists have known for centuries that an extract of dragonthorn leaves will enhance and stabilize other more volatile magical compounds. The same person wrote that. I read about Alfred. We all know about Alfred. Embryon. Embryons are the flowers from the orchid family. Its therapeutic qualities were actually discovered because of the embryon's exceptional beauty. The beloved daughter of Lord Ignace Polenc of Orlais fell victim to a terrible sickness of the lungs, which her healers were unable to cure. Thinking the girl would soon perish, her father surrounded her bed with brightly colored flowers, hoping that they would bring some warmth and cheer in her last days. Oddly enough, the girl began to recover from the illness and grew stronger each day. Her parents were baffled but overjoyed. The healers eventually learned that the fragrance of one of the flowers eased the child's breathing. The flower was an embryon, and later became known as the salubrious embryon. Wow. The other variant that has certain magical properties is known as dark embryon. Same person wrote that. Damn, this chick knows about all the plants. Yeah, spindleweed. It is an old country saying that spindleweed grows best for the sorrowful. Verdant spindleweed in the household's garden has often brought neighbors offering consolation, usually without even asking what might be wrong. This originates from the plant's use as a seasoning for dishes meant to speed the recovery of the infirm. A person who grows much of it is likely caring for the fatally ill. Excerpt by Inez. Okay. Creatures. Well, archers. To fight an enemy with a bow or crossbow is simple, although not always easy. Guard with the crossbow must crank his weapon after each shot. If there is only one such enemy, seek cover and give him cause to wait his shot, and then close upon him before he may fire again. If there are many, close to their flanks so you face one guard directly, using him as a second shield. No other guard has the middle of their ranks and rely upon them hesitating to risk hitting another. A soldier with a short bow is a little more dangerous. Attack him as you would an enemy with a crossbow, but except that he will likely fire again. Approach with the shield up, even if you must sacrifice speed. Few soldiers are true masters of the bow. Those who do not fumble their draw in fear will fire a shot quickly, so it is more likely to glance off your armor or shield than punch through. Few soldiers have the skill or strength to make a good use of a longbow. Respect those who do. Against such an enemy, cover is the only defense. Move quickly across the field of vision, forcing him to compensate for your movement. Do not charge directly unless your allies can distract him. A fully drawn longbow can drive an arrow through a chevalier's plate at 100 yards. Fight between an archer and a chevalier, same thing, is a test of cunning versus patience. We are too often patient, heavily armored as we are, and faced with lightly armored foes who would harass us. While archers frustrate me, as they do most chevaliers, it is good that we fight them, so we remember how to be cunning, how to break an opponent's patience. Excerpt from a meditation upon the use of blades by swords master Massage de Genie, required reading at the Académie des Chevaliers. Okay. Bears? Who has this much to say about bears? We went into the woods near Valforet to find a great brown bear that had the townsfolk worried. We found her some miles from the west gate. She had made a den in a cave on the hillside close to a stream. We stopped some yards away and watched. Eldwin cast a spell to make us less likely to be discovered. Useful magic. After several hours, the bear emerged from her den, beautiful red-brown sheen to her coat. Phenomenal beastie. Following close behind were 3 cubs. Balls of fluffy brown fur with eyes set in them. Amazing little creatures. I would have liked to watch the little family playing in the stream all day, but the wind changed and the mama bear caught our scent, even with Eldwin working on his magic. She leapt in our direction, stopped when she couldn't see anything, then rose up on her hind legs and roared. What a sight that was! I estimate she was half again as tall as I. Quick as anything, she charged towards us, snapping towards branches as she went. I dove out of the way, but Eldwin, bless his heart, was too slow. A massive paw caught him right in the chest, and he went down. Poor Eldwin. Nature is ruthless. But, oops, magnificent. For the Wilds of Thetis, Volume 2, by Stephen de Aron. Okay, I already read about, what is this, wolves? The Black Wolf? Yeah, I read that. Bruisier. Oh my goodness. What is there to be said about it? A warrior wielding a great blade strikes terror into common soldiers, but to a chevalier he is no greater danger than any other opponent. A skilled warrior struck down by a maul or battle axe in 1 or 3 cases. In the first, he is taken unawares in the heat of battle. In the second, he cannot evade the blow because of the nature of the battlefield or his own injuries. And in the third, and most common case, he is struck down because he reacts poorly. We do not train enough against two-handed weapons because we disdain them ourselves. I think this is a mistake, and in time to come I hope it is corrected. I have seen too many skilled warriors die because they see a great maul coming down at them and raise a shield to block instead of deflect. I have seen men lose their composure due to fear or anger and engage such a warrior directly, thinking they can risk a blow to their body as they would from a light sword or a dagger. In the heat of battle, even the trained mind will think such things. Those who cannot overcome such thoughts die. You must watch the weapon, but only to gauge its length. Otherwise, as in all fights, the opponent's hips are as dangerous, only when moving or poised overhead to strike down. You must give ground, but only against the true threat. If he advances but is not truly prepared to strike, you must rush in, cut him, and withdraw to your guard before his blow is ready. It may take 10 cuts to kill him. Even after the 9th, he may cleave your head from your body if you do not respect the distance he can cover. If using such a weapon yourself, mark your distance, and do not allow yourself to react to an opponent outside your reach. You cannot recover your guard as quickly as you can with a sword and shield. Keep your weapon moving and measure your blows. A stuttered step on your strike can fool many opponents in thinking you are out of range and then rushing their defense. In this manner you may kill most who stand against you. Fighting in such a manner you may feel more like a butcher than a hero, but the living may not console themselves while the dead cannot. The living can, though, yeah. I read it wrong, whatever. Same dude, Masai Jean-Ming. Whatever that guy's name is. Oh, a corpse. In most corners of Thetis, Funeral rites include burning or dismembering the dead to prevent them from becoming hosts to demons, but not everyone gets a proper burial. It is not unheard of for the dead to be thrown in mass graves in the aftermath of a battle or execution, unless asking some demon to claim the corpses. From beyond the veil, Spirits and Demons by Enchanter Midromel. Oh, what's this? Oops, Fennec. My dearest and best father and lord, you are strong and fair and obviously the most handsome Arl in all of Ferelden. I want a Fennec. Please, please, please get one for me. I saw a picture in the book. Did I write this? I saw a picture in the book that Bridget was carrying one from Master Furgall, and it was the fluffiest, most delightful creature I've ever seen. The book says they live in the mountains and eat voles and repulsive things like that. When I get mine, I will feed it only nice things, like cake and pearls. Please, 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 someone could catch one. I really need one right now. Ruby wants company. It's not my fault Primmy and Bauble broke. Don't believe anything Eileen says. Please, I promise I will spend no more gold on silks this month. It's too cold anyway. Your most loving and obedient daughter, Hagrid. A note from Habram Bryland to her father, Leonis Bryland, Arl of Southreach, written 931 Dragon. Reports indicate that Habram did receive a white fox's gift from her father. Later that month, she promptly lost it down a well. What? That's so sad. I have faced Antivan duelists, foot soldier. Ferelden Ashwellians. Frog warriors, skirmishers. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. When we strip away the titles and tricks, they are simply men who want to see their enemies dead, but need a hand free to manage it. Duelists favor a thinner target over the offensive strength of a main gauche. Ash warriors need a hand to guide their Mabari and a lighter weapon to take advantage of the openings their dogs lead, while fog warriors rely on stealth and speed too much to use a heavy shield. When engaging with such an opponent, respect his speed. His hands and feet will move a great deal. Ignore them. Watch his hips and shoulders instead. First, deny what advantage he has in his allies for environment, unless you have trained equally in such matters. Once you control his weapon, overwhelm him. He has no shield, and you need not fear a second blade. If forced to fight in such a manner, you must decide whether you will fight as a duelist, one-handed, or as a chevalier. In the former, drop your back leg away to tighten your center target, as you have no shield to cover your body or second weapon to bring into range. Focus on a quick attack, and give ground freely when you cannot find an advantage. If the latter, rely on your vambrace and gauntlet as a shield, and try to wrench your opponent's weapon away. My left arm bears the scars of such efforts, but my opponents bear worse. Better still, do not lose your shield at all, but battles are not a place of perfection. Passage de Jean Main. I do it again. Oh, I thought it was, it's a little sunlight thing. Uh-oh. I have to read about the Mabari. Guardsman. A novice believes his sword is of the utmost importance, and his shield there to show his family's colors. All scoff at such foolishness. But the older student, thinking his shield is a sign from the Maker that he cannot be struck down, is a little wiser. A warrior coming away from battle with his shield dented and ripped may be praised for bravery. A warrior coming away with his shield merely scratched should be praised for skill. Remember that every metal shield was beaten into shape, and may be beaten out of it. Even a blow that does not tear a hole drives impact through your arm and shoulder, but shock and pain will wear down even the strongest warrior. In a duel against a single opponent, you may seek quick advantage in taking a blow directly to your shield in order to strike one in return. If you are protecting another, you may have no choice. In all other cases, against one opponent or many, it is better to hide the movement of your hips and shoulders behind your shield, forcing your enemies to focus on it rather than you. This is also true when fighting an opponent so armed. Your goal is not the shield, but the man behind it. Circling or locking shields may gain you an advantageous position. Failing that, rain blows upon his defenses until he tires and his guard grows sloppy. If you are neither skilled enough to slip past him, nor fit enough to wear him down, you will most likely die. Love it. Love it. Mabari. Dogs are an essential part of Ferelden culture, and no dog is more prized than the Mabari. The breed is as old as myth, said to have been bred from the wolves who served Dane. Okay. Who's Dane? Prized for their intelligence and loyalty, these dogs are more than the mere weapons or status symbols. The hounds choose their masters, pairing with them for life. To be the master of Mabari anywhere in Ferelden is to be recognized instantly as a person of worth. The Mabari are an essential part of Ferelden military strategy. Trained hounds can easily pull knights from horseback or break lines of pikemen, and the sight of the sound of wave of war dogs howling and snarling has been known to cause panic even among the most hardened infantry soldiers. From Ferelden Folklore and History by Sister Petrine, the Chantry Scholar. Mage. Mages are not demons or monsters. They are men and women like any other, except for their skill with a weapon, if you are given. I say this to be clear that I do not think all mages should be put to the sword, as some believe. However, every mage walks through life with a blade drawn and ready, whether they wish it or not. Those who insist that mages are harmless must ask how the apostates who fling fire when the Templars attack learned how to kill so well. We in the Academy know well that no skill comes without practice. If you fight a mage, you must close with him, regardless of the danger or risk of being overwhelmed. A mage's strike rarely hits with the force of a trained chevalier's blade, but often carries unnatural energies, fire that boils a man inside of his armor, lightning that steals the strength from his limbs, and so forth. To hold back is to give him time to alter the battlefield to his advantage in some fashion, whether he summons a wall of ice, a demonic ally, or magical flames to strengthen the blades of his guards. We know that the warrior who controls the battlefield is most often the victor. You must keep him reacting to you and continue your attack. Mages rarely wear heavy armor, but their magic can shield them as effectively as your own pallet. I have said many times to watch the hips and arms of your opponent instead of the hands, but with the mage, the hands and arms may be your only clue. If his body is protected from a blade, attempt to tangle his arms or bear him to the ground. It is not elegant or honorable, but there is no honor when fighting a mage. There is only survival. Ooh. Oh, I didn't nag. I was sure before the Blight they were a whole lot more rare. Should ask a warden about that. Killing archdemons leaves nugs all over. The poor things don't seem built for anywhere. I mean, they feed on anything, but they blister in the desert and freeze in the snow, and they're easier to track than your own arse. Everything eats them, except me. The hands put me off. Yet they thrive. Randy bastards outpace every tooth and claw. Anyway, my point is, the ones around the farm are so inbred they're 5 colors and can't stop peeing. I love it. I've sold them in the capital as elusive Eastern bunny pigs. What did Father say about idiots with deep pockets? It's the best excerpt so far. Okay, from the private letters of Captain Byrne, Lapnug dealer, produced in evidence after 7 claims of water terrors and death following bites in the Garden District, 936. Oh, that was good. Prowler. When faced directly, an opponent wearing only light armor and wielding only short blades is little challenge to be a trained chevalier. However, not all fights are duelist. If you assume that your enemy shares your values, you will die. The only rule most warriors agree upon is that it is better not to die, and a Grey Warden or Emperor's bodyguard may contest even that accepted wisdom. A skirmisher will strike by surprise, relying upon allies to draw your attention. In a great battle, with many troops on each side, you must assume that the enemy has such skirmishers in its ranks. When fighting in formation, you have no excuse to break your guard and pursue a perceived advantage. Doing so will leave you, or those depending upon you, unguarded. When fighting alone, you must avoid strikes that would weaken your guard. Once you know such an enemy opposes you, be vigilant and remember that you wear more armor than he does. He will not hide. Do not enter the shadows where he is strongest to pursue him. He will harass you at range. Do not take the bait he offers. Chevalier deserves a better death than a poisoned dagger in its unprotected armpit. And such is the death of those who grow impatient while chasing enemies they deem beneath their honor. Be calm, be methodical, and wait for your opponent to yield to the fear of your blade and shield. When he does, he will convince himself that he can attack you directly, that his blades are fast enough to slip past your shield. Then he will move, and then you may kill him. Massoche de Gimois. Jean-Mi. Whatever. Rage demons. Encountering the Fade. The true form of a rage demon is a frightening sight. A creature of pure fire, seemingly made of amorphous lava. Its eyes, pinpricks of baleful light radiating from its core. The abilities of such a demon center on the fire it generates. It burns those who come near, and the most powerful are able to lash out with bolts of fire, even firestorms affecting entire areas. Fortunately, even powerful rage demons are less intelligent than other varieties. Their tactics are simple. Attack enemies on sight with as much force as possible until they perish. Some rage demons carry their heat-based abilities into possessed hosts. Otherwise, one rarely sees their true form outside the Fade, unless mages specifically summon one to do their bidding. Transcript of a lecture given by Varen Templar Commander of Tantareo, 686 Steel. Ooh, that was a while ago. A ram! Who wants to read about rams? The ram is a marvelous creature. Its wool makes the best ironing for winter coats this side of the mountains. The horns and bones can be crushed into powder and mixed with the soil for past the crop, or charred and ground into ink powder. The hide makes a good cover and a window against the winds. You can burn the dung in a pinch, melt down its fat for candles. I haven't even mentioned the meat. With a full-grown ram, you can make a stew big enough for a village and have enough left over for a week. So there will be no more complaining about being paid in sheep for your work during the harvest. With that ram and a few ewes, you can start your own flock. You're lucky to have them handed to you instead of needing to go home and tame a wild one. Listen to your father for once. Take care of those animals, and they'll take care of you. Letter from a Ferelden farmer to his son. Well, that's nice. What's this? Spellbinder. I confess myself troubled by the rise in the mages binding multiple spirits to a single object. Among the Mortalitasi, interacting with spirits is a serious, even intimate undertaking. These spellbinders, as they call themselves, bind many simple spirits, usually to books or other easily compartmentalized objects set with runes, and they have stripped the interaction with spirits of its importance, reducing it to a mere mechanical exercise. That such magic is useful to the spellbinder, I do not argue, although the power contained in these objects is difficult to focus. The diffused magic can easily distribute energy across a broad area, augmenting the mage's allies. The spellbinders insist that no individual spirit is capable of breaking their bindings, and that the spirits cannot cooperate well enough to effect an escape together. Furthermore, they maintain that because the bindings are all tied to the spellbinder personally, there is no risk of these enchanted books falling into the wrong hands. Still, the books are in their hands, and I am concerned. Although the practice has spread across most of Thedas by now, it seems to have originated in Tevinter. These mages bind spirits and demons too readily, and it is not natural for spirits to remain in this world for any great length of time. Our Maker placed the veil between our world and the Fade for a reason after all. Who are we to second-guess his wishes? Perhaps I have grown more reverent in my old age. Excerpt from Life Among the Dead by Enchanter Rodomonte Van Heigel, senior member of the Mortalitasi. Well, that's intense. I still look like I have a lot to read, but this episode has been going on for 30 minutes. I think it's enough for now, so I will cover the rest of these in another Codex episode. So in the next episode, we will actually be doing other stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you then. Bye!